You are listening to Barely Adults, your one-stop shop as you wing your way through life. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and witness the life of Barely Coping, Barely Adults. New episodes every Friday with your hosts, Manchi and Junice.
Welcome to our first episode. In this podcast, we will be sharing our personal experiences about dealing with adulting blues. Today's episode is called Finding My Way Through an Existential Crisis, together with our first guest in this show.
In this episode, we will be meeting our very own ringleader and show writer, so ladies and gentlemen, allow us to introduce to you today's featured Barely Adults, Pao, Meg, and Ling.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
What's up?
Hi, so how are we doing today? How is our stress level?
Stressed. Very stressed. Because it's almost the end of our cycle.
Well,
Stress
Meg,
level? What's stress level?
Meg, I feel like before we interview, we should do an icebreaker with each other.
Okay. That way we get to know our beautiful, lovely ladies more. I mean, like, before we, get into the show proper. What do you think, you?
Should we do it with them?
What do you say, ladies? Are you up for a game of fast talk?
Alright, let's go.
Of course.
Okay, so before we ask a question, Yoon and I will be identifying who is supposed to answer the question. Alright?
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, quick fire. Megan, who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Kendall Jenner.
Next question.
Kendall Jenner? How is Kendall Jenner your childhood crush?
Thank you so much, Meg. Okay. Ling, are you ready?
Ready.
Alright. This has to be the first thing that comes to your mind. So, Ling, do you have any secret talents?
My secret talent is that I can crack my toes.
Crack your toes?
Yeah, like the way you crack your knuckles, I can crack my toe knuckles.
I love that.
I love that for you. Thank you so much, Ling.
Thank you.
Paula,
Okay, my turn.
what are your guilty pleasures?
Guilty pleasures. I can eat a tub of ice cream by myself. Like those 1.5 liters ice cream. I can eat it by myself.
Amazing. That sounds familiar.
Oh my god, I love that
Sounds
for
like
you.
something we've done before.
Exactly.
I know so many people that I've shared a tub of ice cream with, and some of them are on here.
And I feel like we were in moments when we were having existential crises.
And all we did was go buy a tub of ice cream
Exactly.
and a bag of hot Cheetos and
That's
just
the
eat it.
way. That's
Okay.
one way to cope with existential crisis, ladies.
Next up, we have Meg. Meg, this time I need you to answer as
Okay.
quick as possible. Like, what comes to your mind first? Get? Are you
Okay.
ready? Megan, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Meg, what's the characteristic you value most in others?
Trust.
Trust.
Oh, that's quick, bro.
Okay.
Woot, woot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Back to you, Ling. Do you have a role model?
My role model be my sister.
I think mine would be too.
Okay. Next up, we have Pawikan. Pao, I know you're a TV buff and like a movie buff and a music buff, and like anything that has to do basically with the arts, performing or digital. Amongst all the TV shows you've watched, which TV show are you embarrassed to say you still currently watch? Like, what is your guilty pleasure in TV shows?
Oh my god. I don't know if you could count this as a TV show, but I like watching Barbie vlogs. It's very informative. I mean, I swear I still watch Barbie vlogs, but then you learn a lot from her. Barbie goated.
I mean, Barbie is a freaking feminist, and
Yeah.
she is apparently a chef, a
Yeah,
pilot,
exactly.
a teacher, and I think the
she's
president of the
everything
United
a girl
States.
can. Yeah, she's everything a girl wants to be.
So
And
you want to
I
be
think
Barbie?
on Barbie vlogs, and I think Barbie vlogs actually teaches young girls
to not just to express themselves, but as well as to be aware of what's happening around them. And the fact that it tackles issues such as colorism, feminism, I really appreciate it. And I don't think it's just for me. I'm a kid at heart, but I don't think Barbie's vlogs are just for kids, or just targeted mainly for kids. I think adults could also learn. Barely adults could also learn from her.
Barely adults. We should take some key points and mash them together from adult TV and, TV for children. Because we're like smack dab in between them. All right, Ling. We have another quick fire question for you. But this time, it's a bit more intimate. Okay, Ling. What is something you long believed to be true and then realized wasn't? Like, it could be anything, like an ideal, a thought, an opinion, anything.
I guess it would be that my problems are bigger than other people's problems. Like, growing up has really helped me realize that I'm not the only one with problems. And, like, I can't think that my problems are bigger than others because we're all equally going through tough times all the time. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm. That takes a lot of growth and healing to understand that, your problem should never undermine someone else's. And I'm so proud of you for that. You're on your way to becoming an adult.
Barely.
And you're going to leave this place of being barely an adult.
I hope so. Thank you.
We have the last question for our ringleader, Paula. What's something people don't know about you?
I'm interested.
What they don't know about me? This is hard. I can't answer this quick. Wait. Because I feel like I'm an open book. But at the same time, I am an open book. But then at the same time, I feel like there are things that I can't really say out loud that they just have to find out about me, such as the fact that it's Scorpio season, and you know what happens during Scorpio season.
Wow! Hold on.
Isn't that
episode.
explicit? Wait, we're barely adults. You guys understand?
I like that. As a fellow Earth sign, I think, Pawikan, we can discuss all of this in our next episode, titled to be released soon.
Yeah.
This podcast is getting steamier and steamier.
Yeah, it's like, it's proving to our point that we're barely adults because, look, I'm pretty sure all of us are red-faced right now. We aren't kids anymore and we aren't completely adults. So, I'm pretty sure all of us are, blushing right now. And let's just blame that on Scorpio season.
Now, shall we dive into the interview questions? We have a bit of an interview here
Ready.
with our guest.
Yeah. We're ready.
Okay. So, ladies, women,
them
girls, gals. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to, how to address. I don't know how we should address each other because we're, again, barely adults. So I can't call you a girl. I can't call you a lady. I can't call you a woman. But then again, what is it with all of these labels? Let's just call each other by our names.
Labels? What's that?
Oh, I like this Capricorn energy in Scorpio season. So for everyone out there, I'm pretty sure it's very evident that Paula here, our ringleader, is a Capricorn. And now you can see what happens to Capricorns. What happens to Capricorns during Scorpio season. Okay, so let's get back into it. And for our first question, I think anyone can answer. Anyone between Pao, Meg, and Ling, right? Why do you think people are so scared of the so-called quote-unquote adult world? I don't know, we've been told so many times that, once we grow up, we're going to actually experience life and, get to experience the real world. But why do you think people are so scared of, the adult world?
I'll go first. As a kid at heart, I always feel like I'm stuck at this certain age. I would consider the age 16 as my prime year. And I feel like until now, I'm 20 now, but then I feel like when people ask me my age, the first thing that still comes into my mind is that I'm 16, and I guess it's because of the security of being a kid. Like, I don't know. I think we're scared of being independent as much, and it's actually ironic that as kids we like want to grow up, but then now
Mm-hmm.
that we're all grown up, we just want to be kids again. And
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's what's scary about being an adult because you're independent. You only have yourself against the world, and it's up to you how to make or break your life. So I guess that's the scary part of being an adult. That's my take on that.
But then again, are we actually like, do we actually ever fully blossom into adults? But yeah, that's another question for another day.
I think we can talk about your question. I think people can blossom into full adults, but also at the same time keep that sense of being a child, like what Paula said. Like she can be
Mm-hmm.
responsible and do adult things and join the adult world, but still have that childish glow within her, if that makes sense.
Ah, so you're saying that,
But then that's the thing.
I mean, there's
That's the
always going
thing.
to be
Because, like,
this part of us that is just,
and
part child. We never fully let that go.
But then there are also societal expectations that when we reach adulthood, like when we graduate from university, we're expected to like just act mature in a snap. So I think yeah, that's also a scary thing.
Yeah, and I also think that, I mean, for me, I think adulting, or like the term adults, I'm gonna find that word to be, I think it's more of a label for me because I believe that we can be mature even at a young age, or like when you're old enough, like we can even be immature, like when we're old enough. So that's why I think adult is just a label for me. Because, I mean, like,
I
you
definitely,
can have a baby when you're young or you're old, right?
so you're not scared
I
of
mean,
being an
I
adult.
feel like holding on to your youth, I feel like holding on to your youth isn't a bad thing. You know, and we face so much pressure from the older ones, from the adults who are supposed to mentor us. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's your choice, you know? Like we have the freedom to be childish if we want to, because at the end of the day, we still know our place.
Yeah.
Hopping into the next question. Have you guys ever wished, jump back to a moment in your life that you could completely change?
Me, honestly, yeah. I have made a lot of bad decisions in life that I regretted.
But then again, pal, who
And I
hasn't?
think, yeah, exactly. Who has
I mean,
it?
that's how we grow. That's how we're,
Yeah.
making our way through our barely adult life.
And that's the beauty of growing up and being barely an adult because there's a lot of learning experiences. And but then, yeah, I think if I had a choice to jump back into a moment in my life where I can change something, I definitely have a couple of them because there's just those moments where I think I could have done way better, and yeah, I think it could have turned out better. But then again, at the end of the day, what I end up thinking is that things happen for a reason, and well, we learn and grow from our mistakes.
As for
Um,
me, I wouldn't change anything at all. I mean, I have lots of regrets, but I wouldn't change anything at all because if I would, then I wouldn't have become what I am right now. And I'm happy with how I am right now and how I've grown, how I've become this person. I mean, we all have our bad and good types of like how we deal with stuff, but I mean, we should love that also.
I see where you're getting at. Like, take everything as, a learning experience and as something, to be better from, to grow from.
I feel like I really agree with the both of them. Like, I think our experiences are the things that mold us. Whether those are good or bad experiences, those things have made us who we are. So that's why, like, if I could go back, I wouldn't change anything because then I wouldn't be the person I am today. if I would change all those experiences, bad or good.
I feel like in the end, everyone's answers, it all comes down to what's like what Pao said.
I think it's like what you make of the situation that's thrown at you. Like, you know.
Like what Pao said, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I think that everything does happen for a reason. Like, I know some people don't believe in like fate and everything, but like I think that, you know, everything that happens in life happens for a reason. And talking about reasons, like watching everything unfold and, you know, that has happened to your life, here's my next question. If you could watch everything that happened to your life, how would you feel like? Like, picture it out. If your entire life was put into a movie, crammed into there, the good, the bad, and the dirty, and you could watch that, how would you feel?
Face palm. But at the same time, I think I'd be proud of myself because I could actually, looking back to that question, made like a lot of memories flash back in my mind. And looking back, I was a completely different person, and I am constantly evolving. I'm constantly changing, and I think that's part of growing up and being an adult. I mean, I'm still in the process of evolving because I'm barely an adult yet. So, but then I'm proud of where I am right now.
I mean, if my life would be an emoji, I feel like it should be the one with that, like the black glasses one, because I mean, it feels like it's my life is so entertaining in a sense, and at the same time boring. So it's like chill, just like me. My life before senior high school is so boring, and like I'm not that kind of person to speak what's on my mind. And then after that, I got so confident and all, and I can easily speak people what I really feel, like what I think.
I mean,
It needs growth. Again,
it is growth. And Meg,
Yeah.
we like, you know, we've been in one friend circle for like a really long time, and everybody here can attest to the fact
Yeah.
that out of all of us, I think you've had the most visible growth, and we're so proud of you for that. I mean, I remember a Megan once upon a time, like when we were in high school, a Megan that wouldn't even speak to me unless it was, you know, for like an assigned topic. And then we, you know, we graduated
That's
and we
so
moved on
true.
to college, and then I'm friends with a Megan who's going to give me a shot of tequila.
Why don't we hear from Ling? And also Meg. I've been your best friend since senior high and the first person I opened up to. So yes, I've seen that growth, definitely.
Yeah.
There are people who grow silently, and then you just like all of a sudden be like, damn, that person grew. And then there are people, wonderful people like Meg, who you can actually like, you know, see the entire sequence of their growth, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm so proud of you. And like your inner stage mom just bursts out, and you're like, that's my friend right there.
If I watched my life as a movie, I would be very entertained because that's the kind of movies I like right now, like coming of age in your early 20s kinds of movies, and like the girls achieving things but also failing at the same time. So I guess I would feel fulfilled and empowered if I watched my life as a movie right now.
I don't know. There's so many coming of age movies right now, and I mean, for our generation, I'm very, you know, I'm very appreciative of like movies like that because I don't know. I mean, look at our older generation, our parents. I mean, not to bash them or anything, but like, if only they knew what we know now. Every generation has its own problems.
Now moving on to the next question. When at a crossroads, how do we know if we're doing the right thing?
I personally just wing everything in my life and just trust my intuitions. And I don't think there's such a thing as good, right or wrong decisions. I mean, there are bad decisions, but then there's a fine line between bad and wrong. I feel like I always leave it up to fate. I think that's how I live my life. Like, whatever happens, happens. I think fate will still bring you to where you're meant to be.
Exactly. Just don't make a big deal about it. I agree with you on that. What about you, Ling?
Personally, I think that as long as you're not hurting anyone or yourself, you're making the right decision in life. As long as it uplifts you and others and the people around you.
Okay, Meg, what about you?
For me, I always tell you this, guys, right? I always follow my heart and like what I think is right. And that's how you make a decision. Simple as that. Because following your heart, it means that it's pure. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing, like, I feel like there's no bad thing after that. Well, except there's a dilemma, and you can there are two sides to that problem, and that problem has both bad and good outcomes. But still, it's following my heart.
I think like I don't know, like each of us have this own way of assuring ourselves that no matter what decision we make at that crossroad, it's a decision that was, like Paula said, and like Meg said, and like what Ling said. I mean, it's a decision that we made on our own, and I don't know, that's assurance enough to know that you're not hurting anyone, and that, with whatever decision you make, you're going to grow out of it. I mean, I personally think that as long as you don't, step on other people to get further in life, you're on the path of making a, better decision.
I agree, Meg. And I feel like we're also at that age where, like we said, we're barely adults. We're in the transition period, and we're allowed to make mistakes. Like everyone said, as long as you're not hurting anyone, then there's no risk to it.
I think, like, with our generation, our existential crisis isn't, like, super rash or, like, something that's so out of the blue, because our generation is more, I don't know, in touch with our feelings. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but, like, we're more in touch with our feelings, and then that helps us make choices that won't, hurt other people. Or like that'll at least remind us that just so you can get ahead in life, or like you're at a crossroad, you don't make someone else's life miserable just so that you can be happy.
I definitely feel like our generation, we're a lot more aware of our mental health and things like our social issues. We're a lot more in touch with the world, and I guess that's just because of technology and how we're all so intact with social media and with the news and whatnot.
I mean, in the older generation, people would say that we were way too in touch with our feminine side. But like, I just, I think that our generation is more aware of when we're heading towards an existential crisis. Not like, I don't know, I've heard like so many, people telling me about their existential crisis, like people who were well off into their 50s, into their 60s, something, they did in their youth that was so abrupt that people took that change either really well or like really bad in a sense. But like,
yeah, and I think that's the great thing about our generation, because we're more in touch with our feelings, although sometimes it can get problematic. But then at the same time, if you compare it to other generations, I feel like we're a generation who can express our feelings better without the fear of being judged. Because, we all know everyone is going through the same thing.
And we're more respectful. Yeah, we're more respectful to each other's feelings.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. There's something that I find really nice amongst, like, even in our friendship, in our friend circle, like someone may be having a bad day and you don't necessarily need to talk about it, but your friends already know that you're going through a bad day, and they'll just be like, whatever you're going through, I'm here for you. And like, personally speaking, from my own hellish existential crisis, which took a very, very, very dark turn, because like, summarize it, funerals, people dying, family members, blah blah blah. But like, amongst all of that, I had a close-knit group of friends that helped me through it. And with that existential crisis, I felt like I couldn't feel what I wanted to feel or what I had to feel, because I was always putting people ahead of me. And then I was in a crossroad where I should either pick myself, pick my family, pick my friends, or just pick my mental well-being over everything else. Like, when it came to that, in that certain existential crisis, I think I've had like 2. That's very weird, but I think I had like 2.
We all have a bunch of breakdowns.
I mean, like, in our short,
because of
in our short
existential
life.
crisis.
Yes, and we've been like here, on this earth for like 22 years? Yeah, I mean, with that existential crisis, and I was put at a dilemma, I don't know. I made sure that I didn't hurt anyone else, because I knew what it felt like to be hurt, just so someone else could get further in life. But yeah, I mean, who else here has had an existential crisis where they actually felt the need to put themselves above others because they've never done that?
And I guess it comes to show that everyone goes we all go through an existential crisis every now and then, probably. If not, then more often than we think. As we're coming to an end, is there anything that you guys would like to add?
Yeah, it's part of being barely adult, experiencing existential crisis. Because, of course, being barely adults, we're at this stage in our lives, we're at this point where we're trying to figure things out for ourselves. And that's scary. Adulting is scary. But at the same time, it's a risk we won't take. Because you'll never know unless you try to find things out. I think, especially now that we're in college, there's a lot of existential crisis about our life decisions. There's crossroads in our life where it makes you question whether you made the right decision, which will lead you to the future that you want for yourself. So that gives us existential crisis. But then we're here. We're here. We're put here in this world, and there's a reason for everything, I guess. So that's the mindset we need to have. That everything happens for a reason, and you just gotta enjoy your life.
I agree with you, Pao. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pao, Meg, and Ling. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our ringleader and our show writers.
So, Mensch,
Mm-hmm.
from our interview with our crew, what were your takeaways from what they said?
Okay, so the first thing I actually took away from, our lovely heartfelt discussion was that, we should actually bring back hashtag YOLO because, you only live once and you only love once, you only hurt once. And all of this helps you navigate your path into being an adult. And from what I've taken away from our lovely sentiments from our crew is that as long as you're not hurting anyone, in the path of you growing up and, becoming a better person, you're well on your way to being an adult. And that's what being, barely an adult means. And aside from that, I think that, with everything and all the experiences that we go through and that we shared with each other in this podcast episode, we all kind of grew, like even if it's just like an inch or maybe a foot or maybe another measurement. But yeah, we grew and we grow from all of that. So thank you so much, Pao, Meg, Ling, and our wonderful, my wonderful co-host Yoon. Thank you so much for taking part in this podcast.
Thank you for having us, especially in the pilot episode. It's an honor.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So I guess that wraps up today's episode. Thank you so much to our Barely Adult crew.
Don't forget to tune in for new episodes every Friday, where we'll be talking more about the barely adult life. Thank you so much for hopping in and for, taking the time to get to know our crew. And, we hope to catch you again next week. Don't forget, every Friday. Once again, I'm Mensch.
And Yoon. And we're Barely Adults. Thank you for tuning with us on Barely Adults. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and tune in every Friday for new episodes. This has been Barely Adults, winging our way through life, barely coping, barely adults.
Young, dumb, broke, high school kid. Young, dumb, broke, high school kid.